Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at Awake, Aware, Arise for this really exciting workshop we're about to do, Create Your Story. We are here with Tony Woods. He's joining us from Ireland, and he's a learning business partner with PayPal. And he, a couple of years ago, decided to bring in wanting to bring sort of more of an authentic leadership role, decided to bring some of his passions that he has outside of work into the workspace. So through doing so, formed an art society within PayPal, and I'm going to let him talk about it a lot. Turn it over to him, but really excited to be here with him and to learn about art within this sort of coaching space. And over to you, Tony.
Thanks, Tracy, for the introduction, and hello to everybody. And as Tracy mentioned there, my name is Tony Woods. I do indeed work for PayPal. I've been with PayPal for 7 years, and 7 years in several roles, but predominantly as a leader. So my background before PayPal would have worked in different countries again as a leader. So I've been in the leader space for approximately 20 years of my career in different organizations. But as Tracy mentioned there a few years ago, in the quest to be more authentic and bring more authenticity in my role and show up as the whole person as a leader, I thought, well, how do I do that? How do I do that in an organization, the size of the one that I work for? Because within the organization, there's over 20,000 employees globally. So, I gave it some thought, and I do recall then, reaching that moment of aha and saying, well, Tony, the one key skill that you do have and passion is in the art space, and you really do love that. And over the course of numerous years at different times of my life, I've always fallen back on the arts as either a bridge to help me through, a time when there's choppy waters, or I've used it as a way to re-energize, or even to get lost. So that's where I started the journey with the arts, nurtured the idea a little bit, started putting it out there into the universe, and it started to come back. So I first of all set around introducing the concept to then one of the senior leaders in the organization, had invited them to connect with me around the idea of arts being a really important piece when it comes to our wellness, our well-being. And that's where the journey started. So I got some, financial backing internally, and had started on the way to building a whole group of people who were like-minded thinking, artists who were either involved in language, culture, poetry, music, but predominantly within the painting, the crafting piece. And we managed to get about 4 or 5 people who supported me then with the arts project. So we created an art society. That art society, we delivered up until pre-COVID, over 20 workshops in a physical sense, albeit in our Ireland sites. And we had upwards to 400 or 500 employees at various levels take part in predominantly in oil painting or acrylic painting workshops, many of whom would have been visiting the Ireland sites from other PayPal, regions, whether they were, senior figures or mid-level managers. But fundamentally, all of the workshops were very inclusive of everybody stepping in, and it was a first name basis. It wasn't about your role, it was about just bringing your whole self, whoever you are. So we had some amazing workshops up to pre-COVID. Our sites in Ireland now have numerous employee galleries with beautiful, beautiful paintings, many of whom have never painted before. And we have walked away with so many people, at the end of a conversation, asking them the question, so now that you can paint, what other things have you stopped or thought of all of your life that has been a blocker to getting somewhere or achieving something? And it's been phenomenal. So that's been an incredible experience and very eye-opening for me, and helping people think differently when it comes to channeling themselves through art format has been very important. So like us all, COVID hit. and it really rocked our boat, and those choppy waters became real choppy, and we're still in this together, right? We're still in this storm together, albeit that we're in different boats, because we're all experiencing that storm in many, many different ways. So, you know, we all were sent home from my company's perspective, and we have worked at home ever since. You know, we have approximately 20,000 people sitting in their homes, virtually, and you know, now is an even more important time to carry out wellness activities, in whatever format that is. I'm just sharing with you one particular channel that I find is incredible. And within this channel, I often think of it in two ways. I think of it as both a mindless activity and also a mindful activity. And with the mindful activities, I guess, you know, with the physical workshops, quite often I would bring people through painting an image. We'd have it on big screens in an auditorium. People would follow some of the guidelines, how to paint. It could be a mountain scene, it could be a cityscape, it could be the sea. And that's perfectly fine. And quite often would invite people to, you know, to channel their energies out into the universe, think about loved ones, think about, you know, what they're doing, breathing in, breathing out, and following a real mindful way to paint. Very enriching, great energy. However, with COVID, it's very restricted being at home. Lots of people don't have the same access to the materials. So having, you know, a workshop of people all with oils proves to be a little bit more difficult. Not everybody has that resource. Likewise with acrylics. So I started to deviate. The arts piece in my role isn't my paid for part of my role, but it seems to have, I've seemed to have built it into it now, and it's in high demand internally within our company. So I'm really delighted to be here with you guys, with Magda and Tracy, particularly, and with Coach Aria. And what I would love to do is just share a couple of, I guess, examples of what I've done post-COVID, taking that mindful and mindless approach to art. And I'll explain the mindless approach. So the mindful, as I explained pre-COVID, was bringing people through the journey, copying or, you know, following an image, thinking about their intentions as they do that, and then people walking away with a beautiful landscape, albeit that they were different. So like humans, you know, we're all the same, but we're like nearly like 2% different. And that 2% different shows up in a physical sense on a piece of art, which is incredible. And I have, you know, many examples of that in the workplace. But for the purpose of this session here, I'm going to show you post-COVID, some of the art that I've done at home and some of the art that I've taken people through, because again, taking into consideration, not everybody has access to the same tools. The first few classes that I had run virtually were simply just using crayons, markers, pens, pencils. You know, I've had groups of engineers in San Jose, you know, by the 100, and their kids all coming together virtually and using pencils and trying to create an image. Or likewise, I've run sessions in Manila or in Australia, and again, using, you know, different mediums. So whatever you have today, it's very welcome and it'll be fun. I'm going to show you some things that I've that we're going to aim towards in this particular session today, and this will be a mindful and mindless session, because I will be giving some guidance, some instructions, some questions, but equally I really want you guys to be like an animal. So you're taking like you're taking your pet pup, your pet dog for a walk, and it's on a lead, and just suddenly you just say, do you know what, I'm going to let my puppy off the lead. I'm going to let them wander. So when we do the mindful thing, we're kind of on the lead, you know, we're restricted, but it's beautiful. It's a great experience. But when we are unleashed, we can travel and we can explore the universe. We can reach so much more potential, just like that little puppy. So with the art piece today, I'll give some instruction. I'll ask you to, you know, to maybe think and reflect and add what your thoughts are to your canvas, to your cardboard, to your paper. Then what I'll invite you to do is to unleash your potential and really just use what you have and be bold, be courageous, be colorful, and fill every square inch or every centimeter of that paper with you know, with things that you love, things you're thankful for, colors, symbols, whatever's important to you, or whatever shows up in that unleashed walk in the park, or as you journey through the next hour or so with us here. So just some examples. I'm not trying to steer you in this direction, but rather just give us some examples. These are very basic examples, but nonetheless, for the purpose of having this as a wellness activity, have been very enriching. So this one was by Nicole, who's my partner, who's on the call here. She was part of one of my virtual workshops. And this was just, you know, a real mindless activity with some mindfulness in it, asking questions. Some words and phrases and values were put out on the paper as she really reflected. This one here was actually a workshop that I took the audience through some things that were showing up for me as I didn't go in to start, you know, with an aim to describe or create this, but it just happened in the flow. And the flow there, you know, I have the Pisces sign, I have a place of worship, I have my mom, my dad, I had sunflowers, I have my girls' names, my partner's name, I have cherries and wine and the sun, and all things that were showing up for me that were important as we went through this workshop. We had 50 or 60 people in that workshop who went off with their own little creativity or creative piece. This is another one, again, slightly different, but similar, some similar patterns showing up. I have puppy in there, sports, mountains. Something showed up that actually I wasn't even aware of what they were until I reflected afterwards. Some things like, you know, the lighthouse here on these rays of light, maybe like a torch shining the way. And this would have been done in that period of fear as COVID hit, not really knowing what was ahead. So they're the paper version. So if anybody here is using paper or cardboard, pens or pencils, they're just some examples of what I have done. Then a few weeks back, and this is where we'll have a similar pattern today, I guess. This particular one here I've done recently with a senior leadership team, and this was based on a concept called Cubism, and not Cubanism as in Fidel Castro, but Cubism. And Stanley Whitmore and a few other artists are really key in this place. So, you know, lots of color in here. I've taken the audience through blocks, cubes, you know, left space for them to reflect on things that were important, values, strengths, things they love, cherish. That was my piece. So the audience went away with something similar. So there was a little bit of instruction led, the mindfulness piece here, and a little bit here was the mindlessness, where they were invited just to reflect and think. And I'm going to finish with one last piece. And this I painted in June this year, and this was about 4 hours for me. I'm very proud of this piece, but I can remember being so ingrained and engrossed in doing this that I actually cried in the middle of it. It was very, very emotional. But within this art piece here, this is, again, quite abstract. Abstract I do love. I would usually paint many different things, but abstract I do love. But there's lots of things show up in this for me. I had a blank canvas, and I started out without any intention, any idea what I would do. And really for me, this was like the pup in the park being unleashed. And this is where I was able to truly explore what was going on internally for me, and perhaps influenced by many of the things going on in our world, going on in my world, either past, present, or future. So a quick dialogue here, very, very quick. So some of the color in here, again, you know, I've done a lot of this in post painting reflection, have looked back and thought, wow, okay, that's showing up for me. That's amazing. This piece here, I spent a little bit of time in South Africa before I worked in PayPal, for example, and you know, it showed up here in the color and the flag. Right up here, we had a very turbulent time with the issues in the US, and some of those have been still showing up. And we have the symbol here with the the hand, the fist, which is the BLM. However, you know, I also reflected in that, and that actually symbolized something from my own past as well. You know, so I come from Ireland. Ireland has a history, a rich history of politics and division and so forth. And there's some things in there that showed up for me in the past. Equally, the barbed wire between the hand, the fist here, there's like flowers on that. So it's not, you know, whilst it's about division, it's also about, you know, release and beauty and so forth. A lot of the other symbols in here, flowers, are just things that were important to me. I do a lot of gardening as well. There are some things in here I use, like coins. These are coins. You can barely see but I use some coins, push them in here. One was a pound coin, which is a UK coin, and the other is a euro. And then over here, there's another euro. And what they represented to me was Brexit. So the whole Brexit thing, which is highly publicized, Britain leaving the Eurozone. I live on the border, so I'm impacted here in Ireland, Northern Ireland, by that as well. Then there's other things like statements around, you know, equality, pride, be proud, I'm equal. So what was showing up for me again was the whole issues that popped up, and I think the movement of people wanting and demanding equality in the world. So they're all things that showed up for me in my walk in the park when I was unleashed. So I wanted to show those just to give you a little bit of an idea of the purpose of today. And now we're going to go to the actual content and delivery. So, and we'll stop talking there. I'm just going to move some papers from my table. And right behind me here, I'm going to use acrylic today. I had thought about using markers, but I think for the purpose of this session, the acrylic, the paints might be a little bit more colorful. So I think you can see my canvas here. I am just going to give some very, very limited instructions, some limited questions, but fundamentally, I want you guys to be bold, creative, and really unleash your potential and just to switch off and enjoy. So on your paper, canvas, cardboard, let's aim for filling this, okay? Let's fill the canvas. Not right now, but what we're going to start with is, I would like you to think about a couple of things. So we're going to go with a little bit of the appreciation, if you like, first of all. And with your brush and your paint, or a marker or pencil, I want you to think about the things that are going on in our world right now. And I would like you to think about 2 to 3 things that you feel most proud of. So 2 to 3 things that you feel most proud of in our world, in your world. You can do that in a written format, word, symbol, or painting. 2 to 3 things, anywhere on your, I'm just going to use canvas, even if you're using paper or cardboard, anywhere on your canvas. So 2 to 3 things you feel most proud of. And as you're thinking about those 2 to 3 things you feel most proud of, if you can just release any tension, try to breathe in, big deep inhalation, and hold that and let go. thinking about those particular things you're proud of and pushing that energy and that breath back out through those things you most value or are proud of. You see an opportunity to add any further things in there, or you feel compelled to add, please do. This is your journey, it's your story. And of those 2 to 3 things or more that you scribe, let's add some, some color or some shapes around those. Again, if we think of the context of what we're doing today, we are trying to create something visual and artistic. I've just given some examples on the canvas, but they can be whatever you like. And as you're adding the color or the shapes into the words, just let your mind wander. Follow the line of the pen or the brush. Just appreciate how it guides along the canvas. If you feel like adding other things you're proud of, you can do that by all means. But again, making lots of shapes or color around those things that make you most proud or that you're proud of. I'll just lift my canvas closer to the screen. I'm conscious of the reflection there. They're just some words and things that they're not just words. They're things that I'm very proud of and make me happy, and the release that feel good factor. I'm just drawing some shapes around those. Now what I'm doing, I'm just adding some color in. There's this particular word here. It's very important to me as family. I'm just filling that in. Nice color. Okay, so thinking about other things that are important to you. What character strength or value do you hold most dearly? So what character strength or value do you hold most dearly? Just find a place for it on your canvas. So the purpose of giving a little bit of guidance here, I'm not trying to sway your artistic impression. I've just added a character's strength or value that I cherish most, or feel is one of my signature strengths. I just added it to my canvas, and for me, I've added that in big, bold. Perhaps that is something that shows up for me in a very prominent way, and hence I've added, I don't know why, but I've added that in big, bold, so worth considering. I'm just painting my value or strength for the world to see. As I do that, I'm just following the brush, forgetting what's going on outside my window. And I use that as a metaphor. Although right outside my window right now, it's raining. Yep. Following the brush, appreciating the breath, appreciating that my alignment in my mind and body is allowing me to do this. Thinking about other aspects in our world, in your world right now, what one or two things would make you happiest? What one or two things would make you happiest? Just be courageous with your choice of words and shapes or colors, patterns. This is yours. There's no restriction here. There's no lines or framework or compliance. There's no regulation. There's no rule. You have an open park here and you can unleash your potential. Just let it be free. As you do, just appreciate the silence. Let your mind rest. Remember to be courageous. Some of the best artists are those that didn't comply. I'm just seeing in my canvas here that I really want to add color into this because these things are important to me. I really want to add color, a little bit of vitality. Things that I've added to my canvas here are the things that are most important to me. You know, these are the here and now, these are the past, these are the present, these are the future. What we're doing here is capturing this, capturing what's coming from your mind, from your body, your soul, in an art format, here and now, 15th of October, 2020. Whatever we produce here, there might be a pattern of similarity, but equally there's a lot of difference. Fundamentally, this is yours, your creation. And there won't be another one of these identical to this anywhere in our globe, anywhere in our universe. What you do here right now is unique. It captures how you're feeling right now. Capturing the things that you're proud of, that are most important to you. The character strengths or values you hold most dearly. And thinking about, again, things that are important. What do you see holding for you in the future? What do you believe the universe has in store for you in the future? Are we open to that? What would you like to put out into the universe? Let's add that. Let's add that to your canvas in a word or a color or a symbol, whatever way you feel fit. Doing that, we're trying to create something colorful, something creative, something bold and courageous. Be at one with it. Look for all the whites. Let's get shapes and symbols and words, feelings, goals, memories. Let's put them all into those whites of your canvas. We're not aiming for a Da Vinci here. We're just aiming for a little bit of you, things that are important to you. Sometimes erratic painting and shape making and symbols can be quite fun and show up some lovely images. What other things in your life give you joy? Make you feel good? What do they look like in an art format or a word? Just have fun with your colors. Even though something inside might be saying that doesn't fit. This is yours. It can be however you feel. If there's other things that are showing up for you, just add them to your canvas. Just as a reminder, remember that your body needs to breathe. For anybody that's holding their breath and deep in concentration, just deep breaths. Hold on and let it go. Feel the benefit of letting the brain mindlessly wander. Just connect what you're doing to your hands and your fingers and appreciating that you can actually do this. Your mind and your body and soul are all in alignment right now. Just follow your brush or your pen. Breathing while you do that. Making nice, attractive color or shapes. Just appreciating that we have this ability. Right now you're investing in yourself, in your whole body, left and right brain. You're allowing yourself from your busy lives just to be creative, switch off. Just while you paint, just connect with your surroundings as well. You might be somewhere where there's noise from outside, noise inside. You might be somewhere where it's very peaceful and quiet. For those with the noise outside or the noise indoors, maybe some of that noise could fuel your canvas or your art piece. Maybe there's things you want to capture in the moment and add them to your art. For those with the silence, perhaps you're seeing and feeling things. Maybe they can fuel your art, creativity. What do those things look like? How are they showing up? Some of you might be coming towards your final touches or can see them in the distance. The canvas may be starting to fill up, which is wonderful. As you do that, just reflect on some of those words or some of those things that mean something dear to you. Just take a moment, look at those. Art really can be a record of what the artist is feeling. Track back through the historical records, and we'll see much of that over centuries. In more recent times, you might see more contemporary artists who are very much in that place of expressing their feelings through art format. I think one of the most known or well-known in doing that right now in our world is an artist called Basquiat, whom many of us have never actually seen. He's famously painted a lot of buildings, gable walls, and these often represent a feeling or what's going on in the world, some of which are quite controversial, humorous, but nonetheless are inspired by what that artist is feeling. Another artist who's no longer with us, back in the 1990s, passed away, Jean-Michel Basquiat, and he was a New Yorker from parents who were migrants, had painted a lot of what he felt and expressed New York culture at that time. And in fact, one of his paintings were recently bought, and it has proven to be the most expensive painting ever purchased. Again, his art recorded exactly how he was feeling at the time. Just like yours is capturing your feelings right now. Some of those may be visible or not yet discovered. Some of those things have come out in a value or a strength or something you're proud of. They're evident in your canvas. Magda, I'm just overlooking there and see some beautiful color on your canvas. Very impressive. How are you getting on, Tracy? Oh, nice. Okay, so let's start moving towards finalizing our piece. And capturing those last sentiments, filling those last white spots with color, with words. And as you do, just relaxing and reflecting. Just thinking while you do that, how many of you actually had a thought about something that's maybe a negative thought, like a mobile phone bill, or some kind of other bill, or an ailment, or a pressure, or deadline? I'm hoping that, like me, they haven't even come into the mix until I've highlighted those. But again, it just shows the value of taking part in an exercise like this, really switching off, disconnecting, really exercising your full brain, and really unleashing your potential. Oh, in the spirit of being mindful, for anybody using paints or brushes with acrylic or oil, you might want to clean up just the surrounding area, because those paints can really stain, particularly oil if you're using oil. So just take a few moments and just clear your desktop. Mine's not too bad today. I've used acrylics this time around, where my preferred medium will be oil. Oil can be awful. Very hard to clean, can stain, all the rest. Acrylic's easy to use. Acrylic also dries quicker as well, and is quite vibrant. Where if you're using oil, you've got great opportunity to do a lot of wet painting. So wet painting would be using things like thinner, it's called, or linseed oil, and really mixing that in with the colors as you spread colors. It's great for blending as well. Some really good artists out there who can show you lots of examples on YouTube around wet painting using oils. Probably one of the most contemporary and famous, and there's lots of stuff there, is Bob Ross. Very easy to follow. There's some great Bob Ross videos on YouTube. There's lots of artists on YouTube showing different techniques and using different mediums. And I'm just gonna sit down and take a moment here, breathe a little deeper, and let go. And I think what I produced here is, again, it's a little dark in color, but it's fine. It's a representation of what I feel today, the things that are important to me, the things that have shown up when it comes to the things that I'm most proud of in my world right now. the things that I cherish the most, my character strengths, those of whom or which would be my signature strengths. And yeah, I enjoyed that exploration and dipping back in and seeing what's coming out. And I hope the audience has had opportunity to do likewise and have enjoyed. And Magda and Tracy, if over to you if you want to open up and chat.
Happy to.
Sure. And
So
even show as well. Wow. Okay.
so here's what I came up with. There was a few things that happened. So things I was proud of. I drew Coacharia's logo because I really am proud of everything we're doing. It's not just me being, you know, silly. I drew sun and light, I guess, to represent myself. And I realized recently that I have a good gift of making people excited and energized and wanting to do things. And I really need to own that and harness that. The sunflower is kind of a bunch of different things. I'm not really sure anymore. I had a couple of words on here. Truth, which I painted over and I repainted very poorly, but truth is the most important thing to me. And another word that's important to me is waste, but crossed off. I hate wasted potential. I hate how wasteful we are with the planet. It drives me bananas. And I then painted over that with the red, pinkish, whatever, because that's my signature color. That's how I kind of see myself. And I'm doing what I can on all fronts in terms of not wasting my potential, others' potential. So that's kind of what I was thinking about here. And yeah, lots of different greens were on the bottom when I was kind of playing around with kind of my favorite color is green, and it represents to me, you know, growth and hope and everything, but like it's a bit muddy because the world's a bit crap right now. So that's why it got muddy. And it ended up with this ugly, ugly orange thing with the word hate and tentacles over everything, because that is Donald Trump, who I hate more than anything on the planet and ever will.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to, every time something's going well, he seems to get his tentacles into it and destroy them. So that's how that just kind of started creeping up in my head.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing some amazing story there in the art that, you know, you can see because it's came from deep within. You know, you hang that on a gallery right now and you'll have many people look at that and study it and try to understand, just like the narrative around the history of arts, people look and study and try to understand, you know, what it represents, how the artist was feeling, what were the other things that were impacting the world or the norms, what norms were flying around at that point. You know, looking at that, some of those things you've shared are huge. They're so impactful for many, but for you they're very important, and they've shown up in a very beautiful, colorful piece, I might add. Really, really beautiful. I'd love to know more, a little bit more about the sunflower. You were hesitant there. There was something.
Because it's a lot of different things. Okay, so when I was thinking about symbols, I first started doing the sunshine, but then I think I'm more like a sunflower. That's more my metaphor, because it can grow and be really big, but it can also be very tiny and just, you know, support the ecosystem around itself, and that makes me really happy. But it can also grow really, really fast and overwhelm the things around it. I can relate to being me. And when I started thinking about the colors, you know, this vibrant, beautiful yellow that attracts all the butterflies, etc. And birds, excuse me. And then I thought about the black seeds inside it. And at first my thought was like, okay, well, is that a bad or a good thing? Like, we associate the word black with darkness and with negativity so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started maybe overthinking in my head that, well, first of all, in the actual symbol of sunflower, that's the seeds, that's the life. It gives life to other new plants, and it gives nutrition to the animals that consume it. So it's a great thing. And also, why are we as a world, like why do we put negativity on Black? Like this is why racism starts, because we start putting good or bad connotation on color, and that translates to people, and it's just, I hate it. It shouldn't happen. So I actually spent a lot of time on the sunflower, and like I took care to try to put in the seeds, because I'm like, you know what, these are good Black seeds. Yeah, I don't know, just got a little bit overthought on that one, I think.
Yeah, and you were hesitant to even, you know, to share what that meant, but even sometimes post the art and reflection, you start to explore a little more and understand what has shown up, and you were able, you know, to show or to understand that with, you know, with a little bit more prompting, and a beautiful dialogue that you've shared with us, and so apt. If I may share as well, I have a very deep-rooted passion for sunflowers. They don't represent for me what they represent for you, and it's interesting how colors have different meanings, and symbols and shapes have different meanings and interpretations for many people. And what the sunflower means to me is, it goes right back to my second girl, and how she went to creche, as it's called, and one of her first flowers from her minder was a little sunflower, and that year we watched that grow from a seed to, you know, 5 or 6 foot tall, and it gave so much joy. And that was, you know, 6 or 7 years ago, and every year since then I plant seeds with both girls, and this year that has culminated in me growing over 125 sunflowers in my garden, some of which, many of which actually were 8 to 10 foot tall. So bringing that piece to a circle and a close, it's autumn here, it's fall, and some of the sunflowers, only a few are still standing, they're dead. But on Saturday past, my partner had said to me, Tony, look outside, look at the birds. The birds were coming down and stealing all the little seeds from the sunflowers. And I just was so grateful and so thankful at that moment that I actually witnessed that, because I've never seen that before, that they were taking the seeds live from the sunflower. And what that sunflower, that one head of a sunflower represented, was food on the table for a family of birds, for example. And likewise, the other sunflower heads, I took 2 or 3 of those, and I, for maybe 1 hour, took all the seeds out. I've put those in an envelope, sealed it, put it into a very dry place here in the house for next year to replenish those. So your sunflower, my sunflower, you know, our interpretations of color and things that they mean, or, you know, we can go into so much dialogue and story when we explore it. Really beautiful.
We can.
Thanks for sharing.
Like, another one reason I was kind of hesitating is because there was just so much happening in my head, and I like a big sunflower, I tend to sometimes take over a conversation. But one thing that kind of occurred to me, I also love my garden, and that's where I relax too. And every time I try to plant sunflowers, nothing grows, never. But I have a ton of sunflowers because I feed the birds, and the birds move them around. So I have random sunflowers growing under the bird feeders. I have random ones in the flower beds. I even had one that started growing right in the middle of the stairs to my deck. So, and my mom's like, oh, it's just like a weed, block it. I'm like, no, it's a sunflower. Like, it's there growing, I'm going to nurture it. And the thing became like, it was one of those ones that, it's a kind of sunflower that has, you know, tons of smaller heads. And every time that the bees would eat it or the birds would eat it, I would chop it off, and it would keep growing. So I had this like weird sunflower thing taking up the staircase for the whole summer, and I loved it. But you never know what's gonna grow, like if you just nurture it, I suppose. And
it's true, it's true. And without taking too much from you in this, because it's fantastic you're sharing this. As I said, I have that fascination with sunflowers. I actually had run a competition where I work in growing sunflowers using recyclable material. Naturally, we still need the seeds, but with everybody at home, I was suggesting that we use bottles. So bottles, cut them in half, plastic bottles, and create little sunrooms. So the bottom of your bottle is where you plant the seed and pour the water in and keep it safe from slugs and snails and insects. And when it gets a little bit of growth, then it goes into the garden, but the top of the bottle where the liquid goes in, cut that off and use it as a little sunroom, and then put the water through the top. It accentuates the growth. It protects the sunflowers. It grows from the surface, and that's my secret tip. But I painted these in the garden and done workshops as well. These were acrylic paintings of sunflowers with my obsession. So we're joined up there with a similar passion.
I'm trying.
I'm glad you enjoyed. And Tracy, would you like to showcase and talk us through?
Sure. I'll try to. It's because it's pencil crayons. It's not as bold as yours, so I don't know how well you can see this. But maybe I'll just talk you through it a little bit more. So I have over here. The first thing that I did is I wrote the 3 names of my children as the 3 things I'm most proud of. So I did that and kind of what they represent to me in different ways. I had my son Randy on a peach cloud because he was my first child, and that was also the color of my first apartment. And then Josh, I put a rainbow around because we had some very, very rainy days, but they've turned out beautifully now, and we're basking in the glow of the rainbow. And my daughter Caitlin, I put on some roots because she really has helped sort of ground me over the years. And then I remembered that I'm also really proud of myself, and not just proud of myself, but I'm proud of myself that I've actually learned how to love myself, because that was a huge journey for me, still is. So that's symbolized over here with my name, with myself, and a heart. And then when you said the number 1 first value, I put a little bubble, like a word bubble, and put me in it, because to actually show up in the world as myself is my biggest value, and sometimes my biggest challenge. And then I have various different things. So this is this is a dog running. My dog Charlie loves to run. She runs fast, and when I see her do that, I just feel pure joy. And then I have freedom written here, community, awareness, love. I've got some trees. This sort of, I don't know if you can see that, but that's like kind of I love the water. So I've got some water here, and sand, and green representing the trees, and the purple representing the sky. And yeah, and then I just sort of filled things in with colors. So
Love it.
That's me.
I love it. It's very colorful. I love your choice of colors as well. Very beautiful. It's like a cosmic dust cloud, with all this beautiful color intertwining. I love that. I love that.
Well, it's interesting because I don't actually have a favorite color. So I think I just love color, and I love all color together. So I had some fun with that.
Thank you for sharing. We have some of our participants here who have been highly commending of your work, and some of whom would like to share. So I'm not sure, how do we do that, Magda or Tracy? Can people share on the chat?
I have just moved Priya, who was the one who requested it. She should be coming on the panel. Hi, Priya. You can, yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow.
Hold on, Priya. I can't. Hey, Tracy, can you try? Oh, there we go.
That is beautiful. Hi, Priya.
Hey, that is.
I love that.
Painting.
Would you like to take us through a few things?
Yeah, so I believe the sun, as you can see up here, has the maximum presence, and with it there is so much abundance and grace and music and respect and trust and creativity and dance. These are the values and the skills that I have. Mountains and flowers are things I love. Yeah. And I believe love is the center of everything and holds the maximum value in the world. In this tree here, there's the names of my children, Roshni and Ronak. And they are both not only my teachers, but the best fruit that I have offered to the world, I'd say. And yeah, and look at, even these, this whole thing of the trees. And as you can see here, there is this swing I've created. Conversations is a big thing for me, and talking to people. So as a coach, you do that so often. And water, the flow of it, the fact that, it's always there, it's everywhere. Um, yeah.
I love the importance with love. It's big, it's bold, it's vivacious, it's right up there, center front,
Mhm.
and it speaks to you, Priya.
Yes, it does completely. I mean, it's for me, if love is the thing that I strive to achieve in everything, in every being, and presence and love, these are my two, I'd say, quests. Constantly trying to see love in everything, trying to be present to every moment, like the sun is, the sun loves unconditionally, provides so much, nurtures so much. And there's a lot of gratitude for all of this.
Yeah.
I unfortunately didn't have more colors with me. I was just limited to a small set, so I was just working with the colors I had. But this is it.
The colors tell the story. The words are your expression from your heart.
Thank
And as for the fruit that you've given the world, and that's
you.
amazing. And love has fueled that, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me share that. Really lovely. This was a great
Thank-
exercise. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks for sharing as well.
Oh, it's actually got
Beautiful.
all emotional, this whole thing. To
That
be
is
able to
good.
bring out so much, and
Yeah.
uh, you know, just to
I
see
find
how much we
myself,
are thankful
yeah,
for in this world. And you're able to not only be thankful for it, but able to put it down on paper like that. It was really beautiful. Thank you for this
yeah.
exercise. It was fascinating.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thanks, Magda.
And we may have, I think, perhaps somebody else willing to share. I think it's Naomi, is it? Hey, Naomi.
Yay, okay. I'm feeling this is less of a painting than everyone else's, but more of just
Oh, wow.
a flash of color on paper. I don't know if you can see it all right, yeah?
I love that. Yeah,
I just
very
had
colorful.
like these kind of pens. So I was feeling very much lacking inspiration to begin with. And at one point, I can't remember, I wrote it down what you said. There's something that you said, I think it's when you said breathe. And I suddenly realized I wasn't breathing at all. I was really holding on to my breath. So I just kind of let go. And then from that point onwards, everything got very, very messy. I just started like, obviously words are very important to me. So I was writing a lot of words. Wonder being my big wonder with an O and an A. So both with the wonder of things that you can see, there's a sun in there and mountains and my bike and all of those things, but also wonder with an A to be able to wander around and explore things. So there's so much in there, and I actually again I got really emotional as well. There was a lot coming up for me when I was going through it, and some things that I got annoyed with, like I guess definitely hearing your pain, Magda, and going through some things. I was just like, no, I'm crossing that out. I'm not going there. But it was really, really strong exercise. So thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed it.
And you've achieved so much with so little. To your point, you showed the highlighter, and look what you've created with that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Naomi. I think we have perhaps another participant looking to share, and somebody who's going to finish theirs later, which is great. It's good that you'll go back to it.
Yeah, and for
Yes,
everybody else in the chat, Tracy had a great idea. We have a discussion group for Awake or Arise. Let's all take a photo of our what's called and, you know, keep talking.
For sure. And it's been a pleasure, Magda, being here with the group, and thanks so much for the guys coming on and sharing their story, and others who have shared their story on the visual as well. And you know, just keep being courageous and unleash your own potential in whatever way that is. Don't let the lead hold you back. Be free, and that certainly speaks to art. There's no lines, there's no boundaries. Art is one of those things that crosses many domains, many domains.
Thank you so much. This was a amazing hour and a half that we spent together. I feel very relaxed and very creative and open for the day ahead. So really appreciate this, Tony. And as I mentioned, everyone, please feel free to share your art and the process and what this brought up for you on LinkedIn. I'll be uploading my photo on there. And thanks for joining us. Thank you again so much, Tony, and everyone
Welcome.
That's here as part of this conference, and have a lovely day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe, everybody, and stay colorful.
Back here Monday. Remember, everyone, last week starts next week. So we have 3 sessions, Monday through Thursday. No more art, unfortunately, but they'll be inspirational in different ways. So please join us next week as we wrap up Awake or Arise. But yeah, Tracy, just as you feel relaxed, I have a headache and like my cheeks hurt from smiling. So it's a good headache.
I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.